Welcome to the 80-20 Baseball Podcast. Strike! The 80-20 Coaching Masterclass, our weekly get-together where coaches go from new to good and good to great. Mastering the fundamentals and the art of coaching.
Welcome everyone, Coach Bo here, pumped up to be here as always. I hope you all are doing really well. Springtime, baseball season, plants are blooming. Hopefully our players are blooming too, not only with regard to their skills, but with regard to their enjoyment for the game of baseball. Baseball is back in a lot of ways. The popularity seems higher now than in a long time. Definitely at the upper levels, college baseball level, professional level. But at the youth level, we need to keep playing our part to make youth baseball great again. And I know we're all on the same page because you are here each week as we elevate our coaching game, elevate our players' game. Players that are listening, you're elevating your game by being here. And we're going to have a lot more fun playing the game of baseball. I had a blast last week talking to one of my former players who's gone on to be a really good hitting coach. Coach Jacob talked hitting last week. 3 things that stood out from my perspective. I thought his discussion about how long we can keep the bat on plane with the pitch in the hitting zone, getting on plane early without dipping, and then keeping our bat on plane as far out as we can, extending that opportunity that our hitters have of driving the ball, making contact, hitting line drives. The second thing that really stood out from last week's conversation was to train the inside pitch, not be afraid to train the inside pitch. The catchers will set up a way 90% of the time at the youth baseball level and even high school. But pitchers miss in. They miss inside. They miss their target. Often, we still got to cover that inside part of the plate. And I thought Chad did a good job of explaining why we should train and practice driving that inside pitch. And lastly, I thought his recommendation for that piece of technology, the blast motion, I have no affiliation with blast motion. In fact, I've never used it with a player myself, but Chad's a big fan of it. And I'm a big fan of Chad. I think he was giving his honest take on that. So blast motion technology, if you can only get one piece of technology to measure your hitter's swing, bat path, bat speed, those key hitting metrics, he recommended looking into blast motion. Now, when our hitters are up there batting, and all you hitters that are listening, when you're up there at the plate, please do not be surprised when an umpire makes a bad call. They are going to call strikes that seemed like clear balls, and they're going to call balls that seem like strikes. It typically evens out over the course of a season and definitely over the course of a career. Umpires will make mistakes. I bring this up because I was watching the pride of Venezuela, Eugenio Suarez, in a recent game just a couple days ago. I like this guy a lot. Man, the interview after the World Baseball Championship game, man, talk about authentic. I like that guy. There's a funny bit done years ago. Joey Votto did an interview on the field before a game, and he does a funny bit. If you get a chance, look it up. It's funny. It's on YouTube. Votto, Suarez, just a funny bit on the characters those two guys are. Great vibes. Now, we got the ABS at the major league level, the ball strike video checking system. I've been an advocate of it for years if you go back on this podcast. It's great to see that they have it now. The fans are enjoying it. Everybody's enjoying it. And the other day, there was a major league umpire. Now, he's going to go nameless because I can't remember his name, but I looked up how much the average major league umpire makes per game. What I gathered, they're estimated to make $1,500 a game. $1,500 a game to be a major league umpire. The average salary for the year is like $250,000, give or take, somewhere in that ballpark. As best as I could research, $250,000 a year to be a major league umpire. You think you'd be pretty good at $250,000 a year. Think about going and trying to get a job that's $250,000 a year. They'd expect you to be really good at your job. You'd have to be elite at your job. Well, maybe not a government job, but you get my point. $1,500 a game umpires make. This umpire missed 2 pitches back to back. He missed 2. Now you go, Coach Bo, we're not umpires. We're very likely not going to be major league umpires, much less high school umpires or whatnot. Why are you telling us this, Coach Bo? When you're going out to your next game, tell yourself, Major League umpires. They make more money than almost all of us. And there's an example of an umpire missing not just one call, but 2 calls in a row. So Eugenio Suarez struck out 2 times, but then didn't strike out because he challenged and the umpire was shown to miss the call. So when we go out there to our next game, umpires are going to miss calls. There was a World Series game in like the 80s. Bad call literally changed the whole series. Bad call at first base. Terrible call at first base. We know the Galarraga, perfect game. Terrible call at first base. Major League umpire. They miss calls all the time. In fact, the average Major League umpire gets about 90% of the strike ball calls right. Now, they're doing better as of recent now that they're under the microscope with this new system. But like even 10 years ago, there was only like 2 or 3 umpires, like I think it was like 10 or 15 years ago, that had a better than 90% accuracy rate calling balls and strikes. Literally only 3 of the umpires were A students at the Major League level. So when we go out to our next game, expect bad calls. They're going to happen. And if we expect them and we lower our expectations for the volunteer umpire or the umpire who's making barely enough money to fill up their gas tank, let's be ready for it and let's take it easy on them. Don't focus on the ump, focus on our team, focus on our coaching, focus on lifting up our players. So, wanted to bring that up this time of year. Games are going on. Most of us are playing games right now. Umpires are going to make bad calls and even terrible calls, and it's very likely going to even out over the course of the season. Real quick before I get into a pitcher tip, today is the last day to get the discount on the 80-20 baseball coaching plan. It goes away, the discount at midnight, and it won't come back for at least 6 months. Now, if you plan on just copying other coaches in your area or league, you're very likely leaving a lot on the table. We all know that youth baseball coaching overall is nowhere near where it could be. And you'll see that when you look at the 80-20 baseball coaching plan, which you can have access to in minutes and be implementing the drills later today. After watching just one of the video tutorials of me breaking down a drill or routine on my 75-inch touchscreen, you will quickly see how you're leaving 2x, 3x, or 5x the amount of quality game-like reps on the table. Now, many of you, your coaching window is rather small. Why not be great? It's not worth guessing. That's what the 80-20 baseball plan is. It's the most efficient, organized coaching plan, drills, routines, all in one really organized place, easy to access. The videos are triple edited. There's no waste. You'll see me breaking everything down on the 75-inch touchscreen or out on the field. Also, I can guide you and help tailor it to your specific needs as you go along. I'm here to help. So use promo code GREATCOACHING, all one word. Today is March 31st, and the discount goes away today. Great coaching, all one word. Use that promo code at checkout. Get 10% off. It's right there at 8020baseball.com on the homepage. Can't miss it. Now, speaking of can't miss, a pitcher with a high leg lift, a high leg kick, a high knee lift. I just call it a leg lift, but it's typically called one of those 3 things. A pitcher with a high leg lift, with a runner that has a chance to steal. So this is for the levels where runners can steal. You're just giving bases away. It's hard enough to hold the runners and get outs, throwing runners out that are stealing. Again, this is for those levels that have leadoffs. Every pitchers, use the power slide step. There's a video on 8020baseball.com. I show you exactly how to do the power slide step. There's even a condensed version, like a 2-minute version. If you're on offense and you're playing a team with a pitcher that does a full leg lift, a high leg lift, it should be an automatic steal. Coach Bo, what about left-handers? Same. I would do a power slide step also, because runners are going first movement, because most often, especially as kids get older, players get older, runners are going first move when a lefty lifts their leg. They're going first move. They're stealing on the first movement they see. So unless you're picking off a bunch and randomizing it a ton, you're giving up free bases too as a lefty. The power slide step combines, it optimizes, it maximizes the quality of the pitching delivery while minimizing how long it takes to complete the delivery and get the pitch to home plate. So head over to 8020baseball.com. The power slide step is the only move, in my opinion, coached thousands of pitchers, the only move pitchers need when runners are on base. Now, pitching is a foundational piece of baseball, as we all know. And in basketball, playing relentless defense is a foundational piece of all great teams. I was watching some highlights of the Connecticut versus Duke Elite 8 basketball game. I'm sure some of you watched this. And UConn nailed a 3-pointer with 0.3 seconds left to send them to the Final Four, beating Duke, who only had 2 losses on the whole year. Their record was like 34 34-2 coming into the game, or 35-2, something ridiculous. And UConn coach Dan Hurley, his father, Bob Hurley Sr., we talked about him 6 years ago on this podcast. Talk about fundamentals. He won 26 state titles in New Jersey as a basketball coach. A lot of people saw the three-pointer that went in, nothing but net from deep outside the arc. Beautiful shot. But what happened before that? The fundamentals. Textbook defense. Full court press. Executed perfectly with precision. And once the press created the turnover, there was some crisp passes that followed. Boom. Next thing you know, you got an open shot, albeit pretty far out. And bam, UConn takes it down. A lot of people see the shot. The fundamentals, the foundational pieces, the defense and the passing is what created that shot. I bring it up because it just happened. It was one of the more exciting college basketball games of recent memory. I bring it up because when we're watching baseball and we're watching our players play, or we're watching the game, it's important that we don't get caught only seeing the highlights or those unique or elite plays. A lot of us coaches, players, we watch baseball, we see the walk-off home run, or we see the game-winning home run. We see the swing, the ball go over the fence. We don't see the hitter work the count. We don't see the good approach they took. We don't see the breath before the pitch. We don't remember the guys who got on before to make it a 3-run home run, so that home run when the team was down by 2 won the game. We kind of overlook, we have a tendency to overlook the guy who got the walk, who worked the walk, the other guy who worked the count, the other guy who worked and battled with 2 strikes and got a base hit the ball the other way on a pitch off the plate. We have a tendency to remember the 2 diving catches, but we don't quite give enough credit or focus to the 16 fundamental plays that our defense made. So highlight reels make it seem like unique things, the final result, the home run, the 3-pointer to win the game, that those are the big needle movers, but they're not. That's like the chandelier in a house. That's like the 80-inch big screen some of y'all have up on your wall. That's not the foundation of the house. That thing would just fall. The whole wall would fall if the foundation wasn't there. The fundamentals are the foundation. So I think it's important that we keep that in mind. Lastly, travel ball and playing a bunch of games seems like we're moving more away from the fundamentals. And I think that's something to keep in mind moving forward. And again, we're going to come back and talk a little bit about fundamentals in an upcoming episode. Last but not least today, copy small players. Yes, copy small players. Matt McLean, I talked about Matt McLean on this podcast a month or so ago, is a kid I saw play as a sophomore in high school, must have been about 12 years ago, and he wasn't one of the well-known players on his team. He was a 2-hole hitter. The coach I worked with at the time didn't even have him on his top 5 list of players on this opposing team, our rival team in our league. After watching the film, breaking down the video analysis of these hitters, which I did for many years. Now, I didn't know he was going to go on and be a 2-time first-round draft pick. And now he's a starter for the Cincinnati Reds, second baseman. He was just a small 2-hole hitter, played shortstop, but his approach at the plate was impeccable. He had the best plan at the plate, and that's what stood out. Wasn't his size, wasn't his athleticism, but his polished approach for a sophomore in high school. Now, why copy small players? If you're a big guy, or if you have players that are really big, like I have a video on the website, coaching tall pitchers. If you have tall pitchers or tall players, really like those atypical, like super tall, we're going to put those players aside. But those are few and far between. When we're coaching up average size players, and definitely below average size players, I recommend studying and from time to time look to copy small players, because small players at the major league level, that is, small players at the college level, small players that are successful in high school, you're looking at who are these really successful players at your local high school or college that you follow, or at the major league level. Who are these super successful, consistent players that are really small? Altuve stands out. Matt McLean, who I'm talking about here, stands out. Matt McLean had seven home runs in spring training alone this year. Matt McLean is 5'8". 5'8". So he's probably 5'7 and a half, maybe 5'7, and they add an inch with the cleats. 7 home runs in spring training at the major league level. Having your players look to copy or borrow from or analyze or learn from, look for those small players that are having a lot of success at the higher levels. Those are the guys that they have to get everything right. They can't rely on size and strength. They have to get it right. If you're 5'8 and 170 pounds and you hit home runs at the major league level, you have to get some things right. If you're 6'4", 240 pounds, you're going to hit some home runs just based off of pure mass. And the same thing goes for arm strength, like pitchers. I love studying undersized pitchers that stay healthy, throw hard, and have great command. Pedro Martinez stands out. So I was reading recently that Matt McClain, 7 home runs in spring training, and look for the commonalities of the very successful baseball players that are small. They got to get almost everything right to be successful. Now, there are some advantages to being smaller. Typically, it's a little easier to keep all your body parts moving in synced up. You kind of get, like, the word when I was growing up was like you're tall, kind of loppy. I don't know if you guys ever remember that word, kind of loppy, gangly. That's why a lot of tall players and tall guys, they're not athletic, because it's hard to keep your whole body together when your arms and legs are super long. That's just a long ways from your center of gravity, your center of mass. It's hard to keep everything together, but if you can, that's why you're going to be the elite of the elite. Aaron Judge, Ohtani, like a Verlander, big guy. Randy Moss in football stands out. Of course, guys like Shaq in basketball. But just want to wrap this up. Look to analyze and to study from shorter players that have a lot of success or an abundance of success, consistent success. Not a one-hit wonder that's in and out of the league that has one good season. Power slide step. Pitchers, you should be using the power slide step if you're at a level where base runners can steal. And a lot of you are coaching or have players, or you are a player at a level that's about to move up to where runners can steal. You should be working on the power slide step. I show exactly how to do it on 8020baseball.com. Don't make that mistake, just giving up free bases. Speaking of mistakes, umpires, they're going to make mistakes. Umpires making $1,500 a game, $250,000 a year, make a lot of mistakes. We see it on the big screen with our own 2 eyes. Don't expect the Little League, the Cal Ripken, the travel ball, amateur baseball umpire to be anywhere near as good. They're going to make even more mistakes. Expect it when you get out there. Almost always does it even out. Remember the fundamentals? The flashy stuff makes the highlight reel. The fundamentals is what wins the majority of the games. And the 80/20 baseball coaching plan, use promo code GREATCOACHING, all one word, get 10% off. The sale ends today. It will not be on sale for another 6 months. Head over to 8020baseball.com and get that. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. If you're listening to this podcast, you're my kind of person. Send me your emails. Keep me posted on your season. Grab that coaching plan. And let's keep taking care of our health so we can be at our best for our families and close friends and our players. Let's take this information and put it into play. Hope you all have a great week. Y'all take care. Until next week, adios.
This has been the 80/20 Baseball Podcast, the 80/20 Baseball Masterclass. We got this. Now, let's take the field.